Before we get too far into this channel, I want to talk about a little bit less than sexy topic, which is debt. I would never encourage someone to focus on investing if they were still paying off credit card debt and other loans. And I especially would not encourage anyone to focus their efforts on investing if they were still building up their emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses at least. We all know that getting started early with saving and investing is important, and there's lots of benefits of compound interest over time. But in our 20s, one of our big focuses is independence. We want to move out of our parents' homes. We want to get started in a career that we love. And a lot of times that means additional schooling and student loans. There's also the idea of starting a family, having a wedding. All these things lead to expenses as we're starting out our lives. And so a lot of people in their 20s are incurring debt. I myself am not immune to it. I experienced all those things, and in my 20s, I incurred about $60,000 worth of debt. However, in my 30s now, this is not something that I wanted to bring into this decade of my life. So as of today, May 13th, 2020, the only debt that I have is my mortgage. In 2008, I graduated from Arizona State University with a bachelor's degree in international finance. And of course, no, that does not mean that I'm a certified financial planner or an advisor. It just means that I've always had an interest in money and how it works. Going into the college experience, I knew there was tuition. That's kind of the obvious thing. But the other fees, like lab fees, the textbooks, and the unexpected expense that drove me crazy the most was a parking pass. Why I have to pay hundreds of dollars to park my car, I will never understand. But college was expensive. My grandparents had set aside maybe about $5,000 for me, so I had that available. My mother also helped with tuition. And on my part, I started taking some of the basic classes like English 101 at the local community college. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the difference was $55 a credit hour for community college and like $250 for Arizona State. So knocking out some of those easier classes really saved me some money. The other thing that was really amazing is my mom took a job with Arizona State University, and I got the friends and family discount on tuition for like 1 semester. So that was pretty cool. But all those fees that I mentioned, the parking pass, and also supplementing a little bit of my living expenses so I didn't have to work so much and I was able to study, I still had to take out a dreaded student loan. So I graduated in December 2008 with about $20,000 in student loan debt with a 20-year term. I think the interest rate was around 7%, I want to say. It was a variable rate, so it changed a lot with the market conditions, but it was roughly that. And of course, December 2008, you can imagine what was going on in the economy and the job market. So there I am in December 2008 with a shiny new degree in finance and $20,000 in student loan debt. You would think that all that education would have taught me that I should be paying off that loan and not buying a new BMW. But I was in my 20s. I didn't listen. So over the next 8 years, I made some dumb purchases that I enjoyed. What can you do? But it took until 2016, I think it was like January or February, when I decided that I didn't want a car payment anymore that was $400 or $500. So I traded in the Beamer, which was painful, and I got a $9,000 Ford Focus. Impressive, right? Well, the payment was only like 230 bucks. So I put that savings towards the student loan because I decided that my 30s were coming up and I did not want to have a student loan payment. There's no secret to paying off debt. I wish there were, but you know what it takes. It takes sacrifice, discipline, and time. So I would take my third paychecks that I get twice a year, put that extra income towards my student loan debt. I'd also look at bonus checks, tax refunds, anything like that, throw it towards the balance. Now, it sounds like I'm making a lot of good moves, right? I traded in the car, I got a super cute Ford Focus. I'm gonna pay off all my debt in no time, right? Wrong. During this time, I also bought a new house and I needed to make improvements to that house. So I had taken out a home equity line of about $30,000. So now in mid-2016, I have my student loan debt paid down from the original $20,000, sure. I have the roughly $9,000 Ford Focus car loan, and I also have a $30,000 home equity line to renovate my house. I continued making the minimum payments on the car and the HELOC while I put all the extra money I had towards the student loan. And I was very happy to celebrate that in November 2016, I paid off my student loan. Cut to October 2017, and I'm very happy with the progress of my debt repayment. My car is almost paid off, student loan is gone, HELOC is still kind of a beast out there, but I'm feeling a lot more comfortable about it. So I started putting $30 a paycheck towards investing. And I started investing with Vanguard. I did a video about what I buy there, how I started, so you can always watch that. But that's when I started investing. Not a whole lot of money, but just a little bit. Because in the following month, November 2017, because November appears to be a magical month for paying off debts, I paid off the Ford Focus. So now the $20,000 student loan is gone, the $9,000 car loan is gone, and now I just have this $30,000 home equity line of credit. And that was a little bit of a beast, but all the money that I had been putting towards the other two debts, I could now allocate towards this one to pay it down faster. The HELOC was officially paid off in September 2018, and at that point, debt-free. And you know what? I'm human and I have credit cards, and sometimes I just cannot live without something and I need to buy it now. I don't want to save up for it, and so credit cards would often be hanging around. Never more than like a $2,000 balance, and always on a credit card that's at a fixed 6% interest rate. So that would occasionally be out there as well while I was paying off these bigger debts. So by the end of 2018, I had paid off a $20,000 student loan, a $9,000 car loan, and a $30,000 home equity line of credit, in addition to the various credit card balances that I would rack up and then pay down over the years. Ever since then, all the money that I had been putting towards debt, I now put towards one of my greatest passions, which is travel, and also my other great passion, investing. Once again, there is no secret or one thing I did to pay off my $60,000 in debt, and as you can see, I wasn't always super disciplined about it, so it did take me a little bit longer than those that are super focused and intense on paying it down. If this strategy sounds familiar to you, it's probably because I was inspired by Dave Ramsey, and the debt snowball is kind of what I just described. I started with one debt, paid it down, applied that payment to other debts, and that's how I became debt-free and got through the $60,000 balance. As you can also see, I can't really preach being perfect. I didn't have that gazelle intensity that he talks about because I was still buying the BMW and doing the home equity line of credit, where Mr. Ramsey would probably say I should have saved up cash for it and never bought the BMW. But what can you do? I did. Sometimes we compare ourselves and our financial journey to the journeys of others, and it can be a little intimidating because we might have a little bit of debt, or we might have a different life situation we need to work through. I wanted to share my story so you know that I just didn't start investing as soon as I hit 18 or 23. It took me a little while. I wanted to get myself established with my career. I wanted to go to college. I made that dream possible with the help of some others, but I still made it possible, and I had to pay for it for the next several years, but that was my choice. And I made several other choices that cost me money and took away from investing early. But like I've said before, as long as you start right now, you'll be okay. Shameless plug to subscribe to my channel. I really want to build up this community, so I want to hear from you. Please comment below if anything that I said inspired you, or if you've been dealing with the same thing and paying off your debt so you can reach your bigger goals.